All right, we're gonna do another recap after the month. I know you all love these. I've also got some other surprising stats that I haven't really been focused on in past videos. So let's dive into the data. I'll try and keep this as brief and as short as possible, but also as informative for all you left brain people out there. We saw that new listings basically remained the same from March to April. We went from 1414 to 1495, not a huge change. We did see, however, when you compare the average sales prices from March to April, it climbed a little bit from 523,000 to about 532,000, a little bit of an uptick. Median sales price remained the same. We also saw the month's supply of inventory go from 1.4 in March to 1.5. So again, not a real big change. That was a bit of a surprise to me. I felt like there was a lot of momentum in the market and it was going to start catching up with us in terms of driving inventory down or making more inventory come available. But I felt something was going to continue. And that really kind of fell flat on its face. What I am going to point out that is interesting on this particular page is condo sales. And I don't talk about condos a lot, mostly because they're not a huge portion of our market. Yes, we have them. They range in price from a couple $100,000 on over $1 million. But to put this in perspective, condos moved a lot in terms of average sales price from just 1 month to the next. In March, they were at 356,000 and they jumped to 365,000-ish. So that movement is kind of remarkable because if you imagine that condos are these clusters of homes and they're all kind of basically the same price. And so they all just kind of sell for, their going rate. And then suddenly there's a huge jump. What happened? Well, my guess is we moved some buyers who would be home buyers into the condo market, would be the best explanation I have for that. I want you also to scroll down here to the cumulative year-to-date summary here, and you'll see those highlighted figures there, 24.5, 25.2, and 26.6, all bracketed. That means the amount that we're down as you compare it to 2022. If you watch the news at all, you'll see that Realtor.com, Yahoo News are talking about inventory and how it's really beginning to feel a lot like years past. And I'm feeling it too. We're starting to run into inventory issues where sellers don't want to sell their home that they have at 3.5% interest just to upgrade to the home that they really want or downsize, but take on an interest rate of 6.5% to 7%. And that's totally understandable. So inventory is down 24.5%. Sales volumes are down 25.2%. And the volume overall, despite rising prices that are starting to recover, is still down. Overall volume, again, that's just the total number of dollar amount sales is down 26.6%. I also want to point out one more stat before we leave this page, and that is in April of 2022, our listings, when you compare them to April of 23, was at 2,223 compared to 1,495 just last month. And that's a 33% reduction. April is important to our market because that's when we start to see the ramping up of inventory to get ready for the summer selling season. We're not a seasonal market like a beach community or a mountain town where it snows on them and they just can't get around to show real estate. We do have a seasonality because of school, PCSing, and then frankly, it's just better to move in the summer than it is in the winter. You rent a rental truck for moving your goods in January and you could have 3 feet of snow. So we need April to be a productive month for us in terms of building inventory. Take a look at this next page with me. Housing statistics, homes for sale. This is the one that just kind of like rises and falls. And that basically indicates what are we doing in terms of inventory. At the end of April, we were sitting at about 1,590 total listings. In terms of new listings in April, we saw 1,495. This number is single family homes, patio homes. It can get skewed a little bit when you start entering in condos and townhomes, but pay attention more to the idea of what happened the previous month or in the year over year factor. And so you can see that we're down a lot compared to April of 22, but we're also trending back up. Will May of this year bring us some more inventory? We sure hope so. Let's start talking about sold data. Take a look at this sheet here with me with the active sold listing analysis. I've highlighted some blocks there to pay attention to. And this is really helpful because a lot of people will talk about what they experience just on their street or what they experience locally as they drive to work. But what's happening citywide? So in El Paso County, you'll see that this chart breaks everything down into $100,000 brackets. In the $200,000 bracket, the percentage of homes that needed to have a price reduction in order to sell was 41% of them. I think that's huge. In the next bracket, 26% needed a price reduction. And then so on and so on. And you can take a look at those numbers there. Scroll with me over to 1 million and 2 million. Again, I've said this before. I think that the million and 2 million is really a canary in the coal mine for the health of the market. If those things were to shut off or you start to see massive price reduction at that price range, something is definitely happening. We saw this in 2008 to about 2012. That price range was getting decimated. And they were notorious for taking $100,000 price reductions just to get the home sold because it was a desire to be liquid, to free up the cash from the house, because most of those homes at that price range probably don't have a mortgage. That's at least my analysis of it. Total under contracts last month. Take a look at this with me. You'll see that it jumped to 1,895 being under contract. The last time we saw something pretty close to this was 2020. Even with the pandemic going on, we were still selling homes. I like this number of 1,895 because it's getting back to that number above 2,000 when we start to see a lot of sales activity. And that's good. That drives down days on market. That drives up average sales price. That drives multiple offers. That makes people want to chase real estate. For those of you who are cheering on the idea that a recession is coming and that the housing market is going to plummet 10, 20, 30%, right now the data is indicating otherwise. And while affordability remains a pivotal issue for housing in Colorado, unfortunately, the data is pointing away from that direction. I've got another video coming out where I talk about 10 ways to save money on new construction, and perhaps that video will give some of you some hope. Let's talk about total sales year to date in April. You'll see 3,681 total sales so far, as compared to the previous year at 4,919. We're going to have to go back a long way in order to see this low of sales activity. I mentioned that earlier where I talked about how the sales volume was down 26.6%. So this plays right into this metric. Average sales price. We rose with the average and the median fell a little bit. That median number doesn't concern me so much. And again, for all of you watching, average is a blend of all the prices from $1 to 10 million. But median is the frequency, like bars on a bar chart. What was the most common sale? And according to this, it was 459,000 was the most common sale. Lastly, and take a look at this quick little video clip that I shot from March, where we talk about what I thought might happen if inventory didn't go bonkers. As long as inventory doesn't get too cut off and the Fed stabilizes their rate increases or doesn't go up a whole lot on the next one, we should see 1,200 to 1,300 sales in April and May, respectively. You'll see that we sold about 1,090 total single-family homes in the month of April, and we didn't quite get to that 1,200 number. I think that inventory is going to be that item that is going to really affect those people that are jumping into the real estate market despite the higher interest rates. I think that inventory is also going to inform some of the would-be home sellers that are sitting on 3.5% interest. And are they really willing to give up that really nice interest rate on their home and then cost themselves some extra bucks for the home that they really want? Just remember, builders are offering incentives all the time. And there's some really great deals out there on some of the inventory that they've taken back. What I've experienced in the last month of filming a lot of new builds, and thank you to all of you for watching those, is that builders are basically saying, hey, bring us an offer and we'll talk about it. So hopefully you found this video incredibly helpful. I think there's a lot of great information here. And thank you so much to all of you. I look forward to speaking with you on the next video.